Well, it's another beautiful and hot day in Texas, and it's time to look at another action camera that has two screens. That's right, this one has a rear touchscreen and a forward-facing screen so that you can vlog with. Shoots 4K, 30 frames per second, 6-axis gyro stabilization, and all for a price that won't break the bank. That's coming right up. So now, before I get into the nuts and bolts about this camera and its quality and how well that it performs, we got to address the elephant in the room. And that is the fact that this camera is identical. And when I mean identical, it's identical to the Akaso Brave 7 LE, the launch edition. I mean, everything about this camera is identical except for the menu system and a couple little things in the menu, and also the lens is a little bit different. But before I get into all of that stuff about how identical that these cameras are, what I want to do is just give you an example of some of the video quality at different resolutions, and I'll also put the bit rate down below so that you can see what the bit rate is recording at in every resolution. And while I'm standing here, let's just do a quick little in-camera audio test. 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. So one of the odd things about this camera is that it has a 170-degree field of view, but there is no menu settings to where you can change the field of view to go a little bit medium or even a narrow field of view. Not saying that that's a bad thing necessarily. Also, it does have distortion correction, but not with EIS on. So if you do turn on distortion correction, EIS is automatically turned off. Now that is a big bumblebee. Okay, so now I'm under the patio cover, and what I want to see is how does the camera adjust its exposure when you go from a kind of a covered darker area. Now this is not a low light test, I'll do that later, but just a shaded area and then getting out into some bright sunlight. How does that change happen? Now at this point, what I'm looking for, I'm looking at the color of the sky. It is a nice blue. When you look at some of the darker areas here, at least on the back of the screen, it looks very, very dark. I'll have to stick it in the computer just to see how it looks. But I'm also looking for purple fringing where you see a little purple haze between the green pine needles and a blue sky. You'll usually see a little bit of purple fringing. Now I do not see that on the back of the screen, which is a plus, at least in my book. On the back of the screen is not super bright, but it's bright enough to where you can see the image. But I'm just kind of looking at the dark shadowy areas if they're over contrasted, and then I'll have to stick this in the computer to see how the fence looks to see if it's accurate or not. And now, before a lot of people start commenting below, because I know they're going to want me to compare this to the Akaso Brave 7 LE and maybe even the original Osmo Action, and I'll do that in another video. This is just a quick first look video. I want to see some of the video quality to see how it looks, the bit rate, most importantly see how the audio sounds coming out of the Campark. Because Campark, if you think about like the V30, the V30 is identical to the Akaso V50X. The problem is that the V30 would go out of sync, and what I mean by sync is the audio and video would go out of sync much quicker on the V30 than it did on the Akaso V50X. So I'm going to let this run for this a little bit, and I'm going to ramble on just to make sure that there's not an audio video sync issue, because I mean, come on, this is 2020. We don't want our audio and video to go out of sync that easy. I mean, we use action cameras, and there's a lot of people, believe it or not, and I'm one of them, that will use an action camera to actually create some, whether it's a film or in my case it's a lot of documentaries. I will use an action camera just for some supplemental footage. There's been times I've used an action camera to capture audio with it, but only if it has an external microphone. I have not seen anything about this V40 to see if it offers an external microphone, but since this is identical to the Akaso Brave 7 LE, I'm going to go with the assumption that there is no external microphone available for this, because I believe the chipset on this one is identical to the Akaso Brave 7 LE, although the lens appears to be a little bit different. So I'm just going to walk around. So this is just the first look. Like I said, I've got some other videos planned for this V40 from Campark. I'll be doing some low light tests. I'll do a comparison with the Akaso 7 Brave 7 LE and the Osmo Action, and we'll do some audio tests. We'll do some pixel peeping with some photos, but I need to stick this in the computer, see how the video quality really looks. If you like the video quality and you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll put a product link in the description below so that you can check it out for yourself, this Campark V40. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Andre. Channel is worth it or not to let you know if an item is actually worth it or not. I'll put a video right up here that is to a playlist of action cameras if you like action cameras. Until the next video, be good to yourself, all right? Take care of one another, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.